Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. Today I'm sharing with you my fourth alternative card idea using the August 2025 Paper Pumpkin kit called Farmhouse Florals. This kit creates a total of 9 cards, 3 in these 3 different designs. And of course it has coordinating envelopes. If you'd like to watch me unbox the kit and create these cards or see any of my other alternatives, you can click on the playlist in the top right corner. For today's card, I'm sharing this beautiful card, and I'm filling the basket with some colorful stamped and die-cut flowers and adding a little detail with Stampin Blend Markers. If you are new to Paper Pumpkin and are interested in getting your own monthly crafting kit, you can subscribe using the link in the description below. Okay, so keep in mind that I have pre-cut my card bases from the kit. And so if you're interested in making this alternative, you can get this piece, which is part of the card base from the kit, and you can see the size and how to cut it from that cutting guide. And it is below in my description box. There's a link to it, or you can find it on my blog, creativechelsey.com. So this piece we're going to be stamping on. Let's just kind of work from the bottom up for this card. So we're going to begin with a card base of crumb cake. And then we're going to add a piece of basic beige cardstock. This piece is 2.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And we're going to cut a little banner at the bottom. So just from the center, you're going to cut up a slit and then go from corner to top of slit. Okay, so just a shallow little banner. And then let's go ahead and splatter that with some brown ink. I'm just going to use pecan pie. And that just enhances kind of that look that we're going for this card. Kind of a distressed, worn look. And then I'm also going to distress the edges. And let's just crinkle it up, actually. That's going to give us this nice distressed look all throughout the whole piece of cardstock. And then we can roll that top down just a little bit and smooth it out just slightly. And we can add this to our card base with a little adhesive right in the center. And we're going to place it about 1/2 inch or so from the edge. And that edge is the folded edge, so the left side there. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. And roll that down. Okay, so something like that. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's got a, distressed look to it. Okay, now we can work on that piece from the card base, from the kit. And we're going to start with some stamping. We're going to do some stamp on, stamp off technique here. And you can either use fresh freesia, which is the color that I'm coordinating it with. That's that card base color or cardstock color in the background. Or I'm just going to use Petunia Pop because it's what I've got on hand. So we're going to do a stamp on, stamp off technique here. And just on that top half, you're just going to stamp a couple of these branches with the flowers, just to give a little background color and flower depth and stuff like that to this basket. Okay, so just kind of along the top half, leaving maybe about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch from the top. Then we're going to take the small little flower and let's grab some Poppy Parade. This is a really nice dark red color, and we're going to just add some little red flowers around these purple flowers. Okay, and we're going to do it in a group of 3. So just kind of create some little areas. Now if we see these areas or not, that's okay. It's just fun to have something in the background just in case, so that we can have a little pop of color peeking through. I'm going to add another little one over here by itself, just for fun. Okay, so this is the stamping that we're doing in the background. And then you're going to take a little piece of fresh freesia, or you could use the petunia pop, or you could even use the red. Add a little adhesive on one side, and this is just going to get popped out on the side there. So the length here is like 4 inches. And the width doesn't really matter because we're just showing like 1/8 of an inch peeking out on that side. And then just make sure to smooth it out. Okay, and we're going to pop that in onto our card in the center with dimensionals. And we do want it centered on the card. And so you'll see a little bit of the basic beige peeking out on the left side. So it's going to look something like this. From here, we can put our little basket on, and this also gets popped up with dimensionals. It's close to the bottom, but not touching the bottom. So maybe something like that. And then we've got the little handle. So in the original card, this handle was popped up over that one, but I thought it would be fun to put it on upside down, just as a little like handle that might still be standing up. You could use glue dots to adhere this. I'm just going to do a little dot of liquid glue in the bottom area and leave the top untouched so that we can tuck stuff up and underneath. And that just goes right above the handle on the basket. Okay, so just like that. Now we're going to talk about the die cut flowers. I am using, again, the cute little flower from the Circle of Season dies. And we're going to do 2 vanilla and 2 petal pink. So grab your petal pink and your vanilla. You're going to do 2 of those. Now from some Darling Duckling, we're going to pull a different die set in today. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just loved this little tiny cluster of flowers. And these dies come from the Perfectly Paired dies, as well as the leaves that I'm going to use. And let me pull those in. So these leaves have a little bit of cross hatching to them, which I think coordinate really nicely with the little bit of detail in the flower. So I kind of feel like they all go together really well, even though they're from different sets. So let's go over that again. We have two large very vanilla, 2 large petal pink, and then we're going to do 2 or 3 of these little yellow grouping of flowers. And then you're going to do, let's do 2 of the leaves, just so that we have some. We're going to cut them up and put them in some different places. So let's go ahead and cut those out, and we'll be right back. Okay, so once we've cut all those up, we are going to add some details to the dies. Let's start with the leaves. On the opposite side of the cross hatching, I'm going to add just a little bit of color with my light Mossy Meadow blend. So just kind of swoop it along the solid half of the leaf on all of them. This is just going to give us a little shadow and detail. Okay, I'll give you a close-up of that. And then on the little tiny yellow grouping of flowers, we're going to take the light wild wheat, and with the brush tip, just do a little circle around the center of each flower. Okay, let me give you a close-up of that so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then on the Very Vanilla and the Petal Pink, we're going to take the light Calypso Coral and just add a little center to each one. And then if you want, you don't have to do this. You can take the light Wild Wheat and just add a little bit on one side of it, just to give it just another little color. So it's got pink and a little bit of that yellow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of each of these, and then we'll add them to our card. Okay, so now that I've got some dimensionals and glue dots on things, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut these apart so that we can add them separately to our basket. Let's start with this one here. This one was the top grouping. It's got 2 leaves. I'm just going to pop it over here on the right side. And then let's go to this one here. This is the middle grouping of 2 leaves. And I'm going to have it kind of come down right there. And then this one is the bottom grouping of 3 leaves. And we'll pop it. Let's see. Let's have it go right about here. Just like that. We're going to put a little flower right there, so it should be okay. And then let's add some flowers next, and then we'll probably add more leaves. I've got a little yellow or a little white flower that I'm going to put up here. Oh, and let's tuck these little yellow flowers in too, somewhere about there. These little ones can go here over those. And then I've got another white that I'll put right here. In that space, there was kind of an open space there. And put a little pink one right here. So the 2 whites are on dimensionals. The rest of them are on glue dots, just to give some variety. And then I think I'm going to add, I think I only need like 1 more. Maybe I'll do this top one, just to kind of fill in this space right here, just like that. Okay, very cute. I love how it turned out. Okay, and you can add more, less, do whatever you want to kind of fill that basket up. Okay. And then for the greeting, I'm just going to stamp it on the little label that came from the kit. We're going to do just a note in the Secret C ink. And I want it to read from the straight edge on the left. I'll give you a close-up. And we're going to pop this little centerpiece out. And I'm going to add a glue dot to the back. Actually, let me add a dimensional, I think, on the left. And we'll just pop it so that that circle is sitting right there. And then we're going to tie a bow. So probably use about 8 inches, I think, is all you really need. We're going to do a small bow. If you want to go a little bigger, you could do a 10-inch, 9 or 10-inch bow. You're going to put your ends together, find the center, move to one side, and then pinch, and then you're going to wrap it around a little bit on the center. It doesn't give me always a perfect bow, like in the middle of the twine, but it gets pretty close. I'm just going to trim it a little bit. And then grab a glue dot and stick it behind here. So that is held down there, and then I'm going to put my little bow right over that. There's a little paper I stuck. Oh, now I've got two. There we go. So just a little note, just like that. So cute. Love it. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this beautiful card today using some die cuts, stamps, and then the pieces from the kit. If you're interested in seeing written instructions or close-up images on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you would like to subscribe to get your own paper pumpkin kit, please do so using the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.